Look, I'm tired of not pretending the Class 08 isn't just an overrated bag of spanners. No matter what manufacturer makes the model of them, they're usually pretty damn good. I'm not talking about the quality of the actual models, guys. I'm talking about the blandness, the dullness that the Class 08 embodies. The fact that everyone just seems to go to them for their default shunter of choice for small layouts, big layouts alike. It doesn't seem to matter what type of layout you have. A Class 08 shunter will always seem to appear on the damn thing. And I don't understand why that is. There are much better options out there for modelling than this bloody thing. I think we should investigate them today. Come along with me if you want to see what options are available to you, the modeller, what you can spend your money on, and what other options you have for modelling a shunter, rather than this thing yet again. So the British Rail Class 08 locomotive is probably one of the most recognisable, and if not the most recognisable pieces of traction on the British rail network today, and probably has been for, I'd probably say at least the last 40, 50 years, or even since it was originally built in the 50s, I think it was. And maybe that's why I think that it's so deserving of its title as the best shunter in. Hello?
That's that taken care of. Let's get down to business, shall we? Greetings to you all, dear viewers of the internet. I am Dr. No Gronk Nick, and I'm here today to talk to you about why I think the Class 08 shunter is an overrated piece of trash, and that the other shunters in the lineup on British Railways rail network deserve their time in the spotlight. We should take away this rhetoric that the Class 08 is the best thing since sliced bread, when in actual fact it is just based on an outdated piece of technology, a steam engine chassis with a tin shed on top. No thought for design whatsoever. Put it to you, gentle viewer, that there is a better way. There are better shunters out there for the job, and today we're going to look at a few of them, since I've commandeered this peasant's model railway room for the time being. So without further ado, let's have a look, shall we? Join me, and let's find out the best shunter we have, shall we?
Thank you to Sawyer Models of Lee for sponsoring the channel and this video. Sawyer Models of Lee has absolutely everything you could possibly need if you're a model railway enthusiast. He has stock available in all the major scales and gauges, all the way from TT120 and N scale, all the way up to the glorious thing that is O gauge, as well as a huge range and choice of accessories and scenic goods so you can actually build your layout the way that you want to do. And right now you can grab the fantastic brand new KR Models Hunslet Bobo Diesel as well. So pick up the phone, check out the website or visit the store for exclusive deals and discounts.
So here we have the latest rendition of this monstrosity that is the Class 08. This is from Bachmann Models. This is their 00 version. And as far as a model goes, it's a quality piece of equipment. We're not here to disparage or disperse or dispel against the quality of the model or the manufacturer. No. This is my disdain for the Class 08 as an entity in and of itself. I put it to you, there are better things to have on a layout from modelling perspective, which will reward the viewer more than seeing yet another Class 08 festooning the rails. So let's get this thing out of the way. Go on, off with you, foul beast. There you go. Off to the head shunt with you, and you can stay there for now. So without further ado, let's look at our first alternative shunter to a Class 08, shall we? First up is the Ruston Hornsby 48DS. The DS stands for Diesel Shunter. This is, of course, the Hornsby model, and it is a lovely bit of equipment indeed. I believe the owner has sound fitted this one, so it actually sounds like a diesel. Though I'm not sure it's a proper sound file for a Ruston 48. I believe it is some kind of DMU, but that still is better than seeing another Class 8 festooning your railway. And this is an endearing little thing. Look at it. It's so cute. It moves up and down the rails with the greatest of ease, apart from the fact that the back EMF on this is just a piece of trash. Lovely little model, and I would thoroughly rate this one 1,000,000 stars out of 10. Superb. Next alternative to a Class 08 coming right up. Next up is the wonderful Heljan Class 2 example of a British railway shunter. This thing is absolutely delightful. It is small, it is compact, and it is powerful. And look at the design of the damn thing. You have a lovely little walkway stairs, which of course you can put a person on to represent shunting activities. And for the size of the thing, for modelling, which is the whole focus of this endeavour we're doing today, is modelling, not the real thing. It's a wonderful piece of equipment. Again, this has been fitted with the wrong sound file, but it's a diesel engine, so they all sound the same. Another fine example of an alternative to a Class 08, so you don't need to fall into the trap of a Class 08. Splendid little model from Heljan, and not the first entry from the manufacturer today. Keep an eye out for more Heljan soon. Next up in our little lineup of alternatives to a Class 8 is this wonderful Sentinel. This is a Rolls-Royce engine piece of equipment, and this, I think, is a wonderful example of how to do a small wheel-based 040 shunter. Now, I do thoroughly believe that this is one of Hornsby's better examples of their small wheel-based locomotives. The owner has fitted a stay alive and a speaker, of course, to the cab, so if you look closely you can just see the nonsense, but slightly smoking the glazing hides it a little bit. It's a splendid model. It doesn't have working lights or sprung buffers, so if you require sprung buffers, this might not be an alternative for you which you can consider. But for those of you that live in the real world, this really is a fantastic piece of equipment, and look at that frontal view. That is gorgeous. You even have the little sword on the front for eviscerating your enemies. And wonderful, you can even put exhaust fumes on the top. Look at it, it is splendid. It really is a wonderful locomotive. And it even comes in an 060 version as well, which runs even better. Yes, this is thoroughly one of my favourite shunters, and a wonderful welcome alternative to the wretched Class 8s you see everywhere. Yes, in an alternative world, I think we would have a lot more of these beautiful things rolling up and down the railway network. Now, let's look at our next alternative to a Class 8. Now, for those of you out there that are mentally challenged, we of course have a steam option as well. We all know that diesel is the best option out there for a shunter, because you can just start them up with the press of a button, maybe lubricating some of the nipples, and then your engine is running and ready to go for the rest of the day. With a steam engine, they require firing and regular cleaning and sorting out, and normally 2 people to run them. So they're not the best option really for shunting, but nevertheless, I have to include steam for the masses. So this is the Dapol model. We're going to have a closer look at this now. Yes, now as far as steam examples go, it needs to be said that Dapol's little Hawthorne and Leslie shunter really is deserving of being an award-winning piece of equipment. It is an 040 chassis, but it runs absolutely sublimely. And of course, there's a stair life that I fitted in here as well, so it runs even better. Not that it actually needed one, because of the way they've done the pickups on the wheels. It is a splendid, reliable runner, even without a stair life. Well, of course, we fit them because we are not barbarians in this day and age. DCC modelers must have stair lives. And as you can see with a tiny bit of weathering, it really does bring out all the detail which Dapol have bothered to model. Even the smoke box wheel is splendidly picked out on this, and it does give you a lovely alternative to a nasty Class 8. I would much rather see one of these than yet another Class 8. Of course, we fitted the aftermarket co-loads there to the mini bunkers, and a Model U figure that is splendid. It really does add another level of interest to your model railway. We've also added some spare toolboxes. These are from the Victory that I got from Planet Industrials a while ago. Lovely little model indeed. Splendid, and I suppose it can take its place with its shunty brothers. Off with you, join the paraffin cans, Kettle. This next example is another offering from Heljan, and it's the Class 5 from British Railways, and I must admit this is another splendid alternative to a Class 8. It is a beautifully detailed model. It does usually have working lights, but of course they're not working on this example because when the owner fitted it, he neglected to wire up the lighting because there's not a lot of space on the inside of this thing to fit a speaker and the decoder and the stair life, so the lighting was neglected to be reconnected, but it is still a splendidly detailed little thing, and it runs absolutely butter smooth. It's not a steam engine, so it doesn't take 17 years to start up on fire. It runs marvellously, and of course this has a proper sound file by Kevin at Coastal DCC. And here we are then, yes, the Heljan Class 5. This has been around for a while in terms of modelling years, but it is still a wonderful bit of kit. Of course, the front horn light has long since departed this world. We have lovely buffer beam details, and again, a lovely example of what can be done when you really think about it. Now, you notice, eagle-eyed viewers amongst you, that the cab doesn't quite sit. And there's a tiny bit of captain tape because this was done in a bit of a rush. But from modelling distance you can't really see, and this was picked up for a very reasonable price. And it is vastly different to that of a Class 8, and therefore very worthy of being upon the Shunters Hall of Fame. Go join your brothers, little Heljan. Go and join them and be happy. Our next worthy contender is the Golden Valley Hobbies Special Commission Janus shunter. Now we are getting dangerously close to industrial units here, but this is still a wonderful example and alternative to a Class 8 locomotive. This one has been fitted with a sound file, but it is not the correct sound file for a Janus. It is some European trash, but it actually works very well with it. Of course, we have a stair live in the cab as well. Let's listen, shall we? Often found in the throes of preserved railways and industrial settings, the Janus shunter, the Yorkshire Engine Company, is the builder of this particular unit, and it is vastly interesting. It really does have plenty of detail. You have these lovely little exhaust ports just there coming out of the side, and it adds a wonderful level of alternative detail to what we're normally used to from the big boxy shunter of death over there. These are usually readily available, and you can get them from a very, very good price. So if you do see a Janus shunter chugging around at a local exhibition or retailer, then do use this chance to pick one up and weather it. Of course, you must weather them. If you don't weather them, they can't live. They don't look like the real thing. You need to weather them nicely. Fade the bonnets, add a little bit of rust on there, some dirt on the running gear. That's all you need. It need not be a complicated process to have a better shunter than a flaming Class 8. Go, humble Janus shunter, and live with your brothers up there. Go. This next beast is the KR Models Hunslet Bobo Diesel, so it's a second Hunslet today, and it's a new release this year from KR Models. It is a splendid example of what can be done when you really actually do try to build a locomotive model that actually works. So this model was released earlier this year, and it is an absolutely stunning example of a shunter. I say modern. These were built some time ago in real life, but this is an exquisite example of what can be done when a manufacturer actually tries and really does bring out the best in the model's prototype. In the model form, it is a delightful little bit of kit. Now, they do require weathering. So if you buy your Hunslet Bobo Diesel from Sawyer Models of Lee, then Iron Horse Railways will weather your model to pretty much however you would like for a mere £20. Well, ordinarily, such a weathering job would cost you upwards of £40 or £50. Of course, that's only if you buy it from Sawyer Models of Lee. What a beautiful example of a shunter. It really is exquisitely detailed. And it weighs a good amount as well. You even have a flashing light on the side when the locomotive is moving up and down. Little Bobo Hunslet, you are more than worthy of joining your shunter brothers. Go in peace. And the final entry in this lineup of shunter superbness is the Heljan Class 07. Just look at that jack shaft. Look at it. It is a splendid piece of fine scale modelling. Look at it. It's lovely. Splendid motion on that. Very nice indeed. Heljan did a fantastic job with the Class 7, and in real life they only really operated around Southampton docks, so you didn't see a lot of them, but look at how detailed it is. This, of course, is another Ruston, so it belongs firmly with the little 48DS over there, and it adds a lovely little variety to your shunter lineup on your layout, and it just is a splendid piece of equipment to have. And who would not want this lovely wasp-striped machine up and down their industrial or indeed preserved railway? Far better than a Class 8. Let's pick it up and have a look, shall we? Now, our good friends at Heljan, or Heljan, however you want to pronounce it, depending if you're middle class or not, have had a little bit of a reputation for their models sometimes being quite difficult to DCC fit, and this is a prime example of that. However, once it is done, it is a supremely smooth runner, and the detail is absolutely fantastic. And one thing that Heljan do, which I wish more manufacturers would do, is fit the detail out of the box, because I will say this, it is much easier to remove detail which clashes with running than it is to sit there and try and fit these tiny springy pipes. Of course, when you try and fit them, they spring off, fall on the carpet, and you've lost them forever. So I would say, Heljan, if you're listening, please do keep fitting detail parts to the buffer beams. We'll remove them if the locomotives don't run nicely with them. That's absolutely fine. But just look at the detail Heljan have given us on this. It is lovely. You have the multi-working piping up there. I believe this is for DMUs, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure someone in the comments will love to correct me. That's what the comments exist for, isn't it? To correct people. The jack shaft motion there, look at it, that is superbly modelled. And of course, this is asymmetrical. It doesn't have one on this side. That is, I believe, an air cylinder or reservoir. But that's all there is on that side. But it is still an exquisite little shunter, and firmly belongs with its delightful little brothers over there. And here we have them. Look at them in all of their lovely shuntery glory. Not one of them is a Class 8. That doesn't work. That is a Hornby packet which has been demoted because it ran like an absolute bag of spanners. So it lives on a trailer now, and sometimes it double heads with the Dapple, Hawthorne and Leslie. But whatever your preference be, there are so many wonderful options available to you, the modeler, that you really don't need to have a Class 8 again. Although, as far as being a model goes, the Bachmann Class 8 really is superb. But as a running prototype on a railway, why would you not want a Sentinel? Why would you not want a Dapple, Hawthorne and Leslie? Why would you not want a Hornby 48DS, or indeed a Heljan Class 2, or a Golden Valley Hobbies Janus, or a KR Models Hunslet Turbo Diesel, or a Heljan Class 7 or Class 5? And we haven't even covered the Class 3 or the Class 4, and all the weird little kit-built locomotives which fit on their chassis. There's so many more prototypes out there to model. Please, I implore you all, stop modelling Class 8s all the time. They are dull, they are boring, they are mundane, they are just... Variety is, as always, the spice of life, boys and girls. We must endeavour to keep life nice and spicy, mustn't we? Yes. Final thoughts. Here we have it. Prime examples of fine shunting machinery which, in my opinion, are better than the Class 08. Not necessarily because of the out-and-out power they provide, but because of the style, the quirkiness, the endearingness, the underdog levels of performance. The machine is more than the sum of its parts, ladies and gentlemen, and I thoroughly believe we need to see more of these little shunters, which are often overlooked in favour of the Class 08. Now do be sure to like this video, share it, and of course subscribe to the Peasant channel. It helps him grow. And if he grows, that means I can come back and spread my message of despair and disdain towards the Class 08. Join me in the anti-Gronk leagues. We together shall indeed rid the world of the Class 08 and its nonsense, paving the way for better shunters. Goodbye for now.
Bloody hell, it's warm.
A second, then do it, and I'm gonna. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh shit, sorry.